All right.
Her son just gave the opening speech at the Kroger Center.
Wait, he didn't do it for his own school?
His whole school, everything was here.
So I was saying how I was pretty impressed, mashallah, how some of the students, most of the students actually retained a lot of the information which we spoke about this week, which is very beneficial because then you can remind yourself about it, and then you can also remind others about it, or even teach it to others that may have not attended. So we did speak about some of the names of the Day of Judgment in the beginning of the class, and we let's see, Hanan, do you remember any of the days of the Day of Resurrection?
Day of regret.
The Day of Regret. And why is it the Day of Regret, Sister Sakina?
Because we're going to regret a lot of things that we did, or a lot of things that we didn't do that we should have done, and now we regret that we can't do it.
Okay. Marwa?
The day of standing, like
The Day of Standing?
yeah, and the day that we're gonna be like racing to
To the judgment.
the judgment.
Okay. Nusayba?
As-sa'a.
As-sa'a meaning
Time.
the time, the hour. Isa?
The day when people are going to come out from their graves.
Yom al-Khuruj, the day that people are coming out. Maryam? Yom al-Qiyamah. And what does that mean? The Day of Standing. What can you tell me about the Day of Standing? 50,000. Mm-hmm. Okay. Dua. Yom al-Khulud. And that means the everlasting life. And why is it called the everlasting life? Why is it called the Day of the Everlasting Life?
Because that's our life forever.
Right. That starts where we will now be eternal mortals. We will never die after that. Arwa?
It's gonna be on Friday.
It's going to be on a Friday. And what else? What other information do we know about that, Hanan? About it being on a Friday. What else did that hadith that spoke about it being on a Friday, what did it talk about?
How the animals kind of prepare themselves every Friday, but the humans and jinns, they kind of just forget about it.
Okay, what else happened on Friday, Sister Sakina, that we know of, that the hadith spoke about?
Like she said, I don't remember.
On Friday, when we spoke about the hadith about Friday, it said that on Friday, the best of the day on which the sun rises is Friday. On this day, Adam
entered paradise and was expelled from paradise.
Okay, and he was also created on Friday. Okay. All right. So, let's move on. Let's move on a bit. Now, we spoke also yesterday, we touched on how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring the souls back from the dead. What did we speak about concerning this? How is Allah going to do it? What's going to be what's something that we spoke about in the class that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave evidence for in the Quran? Dua?
It's going to be our tailbones.
Very good. We're going to be brought back up from our tailbone. And why our tailbone, Isa?
Because all the other parts in our body will be decayed.
Very good. All the rest of the parts of your body will be decayed, will disintegrate into the earth. But we will be brought up by our tailbone. Marwa, what else can you tell us about when we are going to be brought up?
That we're gonna be drenching in our sweat.
Okay. Adwa, do you know anything about when we're going to be brought up from the grave? Specifically, what we spoke about? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about similar to the vegetation. Isa?
We're going to be running to the
Okay. Hanan?
How we're gonna be like shot up from our grave like perfectly like.
Okay. Remember when we spoke also about the rainfall?
They will be like bigger and I can't remember.
You're talking
I remember
about the
our
people?
dad- yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Our dad taught us
yeah.
about this.
Mm-hmm.
You said they'll be as like tall as a prophet.
Okay. So we also spoke about the rainfall where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he describes when he sends down rain on a barren land, a land that's empty, a land that's dry, that has no vegetation, no trees, no grass. But when he sends down rain on it, it causes fruit and vegetables to grow out of the ground. And this is the same way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he compares those two in the Quran with each other in verses together. And he says that he's going to send down water onto the earth, which is going to cause our souls and our bodies to now come back up from the ground. Okay? Similar to how when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts down rain on a dry land and causes vegetation to come up, that's the same way that we're going to be brought back up. And we're going to be brought up by our tailbone, which is a small, round piece of bone at the base of your spine. It's a small, round bone at the base of your spine. And as Isa said, everything else from our body will disintegrate, will go away into the ground except for that tailbone. And something that we have to remember is, regardless of how someone's life ends, regardless if they were in a car accident, or they were eaten by a shark, or they went up to the sky and exploded in the universe, whatever it is, however that person happened to die, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will still bring that person back up. There's no person that can say, well, I'll just, make sure that I'm spread all around the entire earth so I won't be brought back together. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring every single person back together regardless of how you died. Nusayba.
My dad said there was this hadith, and it was like this guy, he ordered his sons to take like his ashes and like spread it everywhere in different places, and then Allah will bring him back to life on the day of judgment, and he will ask him why he did it, and he will say because he was like really scared and stuff, and Allah will forgive him.
Mm-hmm.
He asked his sons to do it because he did a lot of bad deeds and he was forgiven.
Mm-hmm. So Nusayba is sharing with us a hadith of a man who didn't want to be brought back to life, who didn't want to be questioned for his deeds. So he ordered his family to scatter his body in the smallest way possible so he won't be brought back to life. But as we said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring everyone back to life regardless of how small that person was made into after his death, regardless of where they died, how they died, Allah will bring them back to life. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has every soul accounted for. When you think about how many millions of people are in this world now, and then you think about, Isa, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That when we grow, we're not going to be growing from soil, because the land is going to be made out of dirt.
Okay.
Like, kind of like
Okay. So we were saying that all the people before us, from the time that Prophet Adam alayhi salam was created, until all the people after us, and Allah knows best how many people that will be. So you're talking about many prophets. You're talking about many generations. All the different stories that you hear in the Quran about Prophet Nuh and his people. How long did Prophet Nuh live for? Anybody remember?
Like 1,000.
1,000 minus 50. So 950 years. All those people that he gave dawah to. All the people that Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam gave dawah to. All of these different nations and tribes and these different people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring every single person back to life on the Day of Judgment. Even to the point, all the creatures, all the jinn, all the mankind, and even all of the animals. Okay? Even all of the animals will be there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, there is none in the heavens and in the earth, but comes onto the most gracious as a slave. Verily, he knows each one of them, and has counted them a full counting. And every one of them will come to him alone, without any helper, any protector, or any defender. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, and we shall gather them all together so as to leave not one of them behind. So not one person is just going to be left. A lot of times, you know, mashallah, a lot of us, we have big families. You go to the store, you go out to eat, you go do something, and you look around and you say, oh, wait, where's Hanan? We left. Where's Hanan? Is Hanan coming? Oh, I forgot about Hanan. Oh, did you invite this person? Oh, I invited everybody, but I forgot to invite that one person. That's not how it's going to be on the Day of Judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows every single person, regardless if it was a small baby, if it was an older child, if it was an adult. Regardless, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has that person accounted for, and that person will attend. Now, we briefly spoke about yesterday also about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how He will restore our bodies after we come back out of that grave. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to restore our bodies, but it's going to be a bit different. How are we going to be a bit different when we're brought back up? When we're brought out of the grave, Marwa?
We're going to be naked.
We're going to be naked as if when we were first born, barefoot, naked, uncircumcised. Arwa.
You're not going to be caring about like your parents and other people. You're worrying about yourself.
You're not going to care about anyone, regardless of how many friends, how many family members you have now. On that day, after we're brought back up, we're not going to have time to think about anyone else. You're going to be so scared and so have so much regret for your own self. Isa, what did you want to add?
I think we said that we'll be like Adam.
Okay. When we go to Jannah, inshallah, that we will be like Adam alayhi salam, which was very, very tall. And Allah knows best. I was told that we're going to be like Adam in Jannah, which we're going to be taller, which is going to also increase our goodness. So we're going to benefit more because we're bigger. We're going to benefit more from the blessings and from everything that's around us because of the fact that we're taller. So now we're going to be able to enjoy it more, and Allah knows best. So, but when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala restores our souls, He said we're going to be a bit different, and that's because now, as Dua said, it's going to be Yom al-Khulud. We're not going to be able to die. So regardless of what is happening, regardless of how someone is being punished, regardless of what is taking place with that person, they will not be able to die. We will be able to see all mankind. We will be able to see jinn. We will be able to see angels and things that were kept away from our eyes in this life. Now we're going to be able to see it in the next life. Inshallah, you get to see Allah if you have righteous deeds. and get to go to Jannah, inshallah. Now let's talk about that. We have already mentioned that we're going to be barefooted, naked, and uncircumcised. What about, now we're going to go ahead and start talking about the clothing of the mankind on the Day of Judgment. So the righteous people, eventually, the righteous people will be clothed in garments, in noble garments, okay? In garments from Jannah, from paradise. And the evildoers, those that disobeyed Allah, those that used to make mockery of Islam and denied the Day of Judgment, and we spoke about that, how many people deny the Day of Judgment. You'll find it on YouTube. You'll find them on videos, DVDs. People that they give these long lectures, they write these long books on how when you die, that's really just the end of it. There's no afterlife. And even this is a notion, this is a thought that people used to have during the time of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. They would laugh, make mockery, and say, oh, you think that after we die and after our bones go to dust in the ground that we're going to be brought back up again? What these people don't realize is what? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us from the beginning. He created us from nothing from the beginning. So it's not hard for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do it again and again and over. This is very, exactly, Nusayba, this is very easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do. So now, those type of people that denied Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala his lordship and they did not want to believe, or the people that did believe but they just were too arrogant to accept it, they will have on clothes made of tar, of shields, of scabs, and other awful garments. So you know, like when they go out in the street and they make they're making the street. If you ever see, it's hot, boiling material. It's a black material, and the smell of it is a very, very strong smell. This is what the people will be wearing on the Day of Judgment. Among the first slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be clothed, does anyone know who?
Is it Ibrahim?
Very good. Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam, the close friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will be the first person. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, the first creation to be clothed on the Day of Resurrection will be Ibrahim al-Khalil. Another one says, the first one to be clothed on the Day of Resurrection will be Ibrahim, who will be clothed in a garment from paradise. A chair will be brought and placed to the right of the throne. Then I will be brought and clothed in a garment from paradise, the like of which has never been seen. Now, some scholars have mentioned two reasons as to why Ibrahim alayhi salam will be the first one to have clothes on the Day of Resurrection. One of the reasons that they say is because Ibrahim alayhi salam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to cover while praying. And because he wanted to do extra, he wanted to be more modest, he was the first one to actually wear trousers, to wear pants, to give him more modesty. And that's one of the reasons, as a reward for him, is that he's going to be the first one to be clothed. Another reason that scholars give as to why he will be the first one to be clothed is because when Ibrahim alayhi salam was to be killed by his people, when they were going to throw him into the fire, they removed all his clothing in front of people to embarrass him, to make mockery out of him, to shame him. They removed his clothes before throwing him into the fire. And so this is a reward for him that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will clothe him first out of everyone else. Yes. Who?
Is that something to burn? You said they're gonna wear black streets?
Tar. The stuff that street is made from. You know, when you drive on the street, it's tar. That material before it gets hard, it's a soft material.
I'm sorry. And they confused between like she said, it's like she thought that's for Ibrahim alayhi salam. This is the type of cloth.
What did you think, Dua?
That was the material.
The material for the righteous people will be noble garments from Jannah, from paradise. And the material made of tar, made of hot boiling material, is for people who disobeyed or disbelieved in Allah. Now, we were talking about the reason why Prophet Ibrahim will be clothed first is because when Prophet Ibrahim was given dawah to his people, they threw him into a fire. They wanted to kill him. But before they did that, they removed his clothing. Okay.
Sometimes just guys.
All right. So as of right now, that's going to go ahead and end our session for today. Does anyone have any other questions concerning what we spoke about today, or any time this week, or would like to add something to what we spoke about? Maryam, would you like to add anything or speak about anything that we spoke about this week?
Maryam, do you know what the Ahl Jannah they would wear? Yeah, just make the bomb maybe from sale. Is the Hari is called sale or?
They'll be wearing like the stuff from street, and it'll be boiling.
And what happens when their skin is like burning after that? Allah will give them a new skin, right? And like keep
Okay. Isa?
The day of judgment isn't going to start until first the people are they're going to go to all of the prophets and they're going to ask, what should we do? And then the day of judgment won't start until they go to the prophet Muhammad and then he asks them to Allah and pray and ask if the day of judgment can start.
Yeah, they will go to all the prophets. Like they'll go from one to the other. Like they'll go to Adam. He'll say, "Oh, I disobeyed Allah. I ate from the tree." And they'll go to Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim, and he'll say, "I told 3 lies." Even though they weren't really lies, they were like, and they will go to all the prophets, and then they will go to the Prophet Muhammad, and he'll pray in a way that like no one has ever prayed before, and it's like really good and stuff, and it's like he prays in a way that's like so beautiful and stuff, and then Allah make it stop.
But this will be happening in the day of judgment. We could not say the day of judgment is not going to start. The day of judgment start by resurrection. People coming out of the grave, coming back again to life, and assemble before Allah. And the people will be sitting, waiting, standing, waiting for the questions and the judgment and recompensing to be taken place. This now when this will be happening. So we shouldn't say the day of judgment is not going to until no, because the day of judgment already start when people came out their grave. Okay? But this one of the things that will be what? Happening is the day of judgment.
So they're asking for like the waiting to end.
No, they're waiting for Allah to start the questioning. Because this itself is people will be assembled in one place. And they're going to be waiting. Okay? So now they will go about seeking assistance and try to find somebody who can intercede before Allah so Allah can start, you understand, questioning the people. But the day of judgment already started by what? People coming out of their grave. All right, it seems that we have important a good session and good information about the day of judgment. We thank Sister Ru'ya, and we'll take a break, inshallah, for a few minutes. Thank you. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Or you can do whatever you have to do. Take a little 5-minute break.